Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. It's me, DIGI. We are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're at Frankfurt International Airport. We're going to be doing an accelerated trip down to Marrakesh in Morocco in the A321 Neo. I am outside the terminal, pretending like I've been dropped off by a bus to walk over to my aircraft. This is the included A321 in the standard edition, and I've flown it more than a few times at this point. I'm starting to get a shine. I'm starting to take a shine to it. I'm starting to enjoy flying the plane. Um, does it have every single option that's configurable and possible in an actual A321? Certainly doesn't. Do I care? No. I like being able to jump into this plane, do a modicum of setup, and get going wherever it is I want to go. Um, it's a nice plane to fly, given that I've flown, the A319 and the A320 Neo on various occasions. It's a nice plane to jump into for extremely similar systems and just the experience overall. Also, I do believe this plane has an interior unlike the old, A320 Neo from the FS 2020 days. I think the V2 A320 Neo from any builds does have an interior as well. I just like being able to see the interior of the plane. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started. I do believe the external door is closed at this point. That's fine. Um, Outside view is going to be a teensy bit jittery as it loads stuff in, I'm sure, but one other thing I'm not doing right now, I'm not actually using anything for like frame generation or lossless scaling, and I'll explain why in a little bit once I get rid of all the covers. Okay, so covers and chocks are all off. I can get back into the plane and get going. Set up a nice little view for the outside. Well, it looks like we've got somebody coming in. Okay, so back behind the wheel of the A320 Neo, A321 Neo, and we'll get the battery, external power plugged in and the batteries turned on. Alright, so fire tests look good. Let's get the ADIRs lining up and let's start plugging things in or turning things on. Position 1 for the lights. I'll turn the probe window heat on right now just so I don't forget, even though it's probably one of the least things that I forget. I'm going to turn on the interior lighting because I do that kind of thing. Standby compass light. Annunciator light check. Looks like stuff's lining up nicely. And I've got a lot of stuff coming online. Yeah, I think we're good. Arm the emergency lights and we will get started with the boarding process. I'll let GSX handle the particulars. Okay, so I've got SimBrief set up to handle today's flight. Let me load it in. We've got weather and we've got the flight plan. GPU is on, doors are opening, so my pretend first officer is helping me out, and it looks like I might have had a bit of a hiccup with the stream kicking on, so hello again. This is DIGI inside of the A321neo at Frankfurt. We're going to be flying to Marrakesh in Morocco today. I will turn on the cabin lights so that when people board, it's going to be all good. Unless, of course, they were on to begin with. So hold on. Let's take a fixed camera view. And let me do a little bit of messing around. Let me go ahead and check the cabin light option. I can't tell right now, so I'm probably not going to worry about the cabin lights at this point. I am going to worry about the payload. Sim brief payload applied, and we will do a fast load while we get everything set. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and set up for our departure. We're going to be flying out of runway 18. So let me go back to the airport. Oh, interesting. Yeah, 18 is 13,123 feet long, as are 07 center, 07 right, and then there's also 07 left, which is a smaller runway, but I'm not worried about it. Taxi's not going to be too long today, so I'm not going to worry too much about fuel. We should be fine. And now we're boarding. So, sync conditions, and let me take a look at my flight plan for the weight from the sim brief. Weight is going to be 19.5, but what is the actual takeoff weight? I think it's going to be 81,100 kilograms, but let me double check. Oh, zero fuel weight. Yeah, so if not 81,000, pretty close. So what do we say, 81.1? I'm going to plan on that. So flex is 43, and we've got 160, 166, and 169 for the runway speeds. And can I send that to the... Yes, I can. Wonderful. So we just sent the data to the FMGCS, and we can continue. One thing I probably forgot to do was to update my... Oh, no, wait. We're good. Yeah, I've got the latest AirAct cycle. Funny thing is, I don't even remember doing that, which is pretty cool. Okay, and it looks like Adarius has finished aligning. Let's request. There we go. IRS init should be complete. Route uplink is probably in progress. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make sure the numbers are entered. 166. Oh, whoa. Slow down. Interesting that the numbers didn't go away. Okay, flex temp is 43. A little weird. 43, and what is the config? It's, let's see, flaps 1, 0.4 up. Okay, there we go. Okay, takeoff data is being filled in. Let's double check our flight plan. We'll be taking the Aneki to Lima departure with the Aneki transition. And let me just make sure I see what that is. Aneki to departure has one waypoint before we get out of it, so I want to make sure that's actually there. We'll pick the departure using 1-8, Aneki to Lima, insert. There we go. And let me make sure the last waypoint before the airport is actually filled in. And that would be, I think, Maybap, unless that's the actual approach. Maybap, we're using the Maybap 4 Alpha arrival, and we're taking the RNAV 28. And now we have everything, or should have everything that we need. Yeah, there we go. And I think the go around, or the missed approach altitude, is going to be 6,000 feet. If I double check the approach into Marrakesh, I will be able to confirm what the initial height is. Initial height looks like it's actually 4,300, so we'll have to reconfigure it before we get set to come in. Actually, 3,200 is right before we begin our descent. So 3,200 is what we're going to prep for. Okay, and just confirming, we have 11,660 kilograms of fuel. Minimum takeoff fuel for today is going to be 11,420 kilograms of fuel, so we are not going to want to mess around on taxi departure out of here, which is fine. That's fine. Let's go ahead and hit the B button because we're nice and lazy. And constraints, flight directors, and what's the initial climb out of Frankfurt? Let's find out. Initial climb for 1-8 is 4,000. 4,000. That should be fine. We have takeoff data, flight plan data. Performance is set. Flight plan is set. There we go. And just do a quick check of systems. Actually, let's get the APU turned on first. And now it's raining. Or it was raining. Raining or snowing, I can't tell. Crew oxygen on. We'll get the fuel pump started and we'll get the beacon light on. We'll get out of here shortly. Nav lights position 2, beacon lights on. Electronic devices stowed, seatbelts on. And let's go ahead and get started for pushback. When we push back out of Frankfurt, we're going to be going to runway 18. So we're going to push back, tail facing east, and then we will take the orange line, November Bravo Orange, down to, is that November 8 or November Bravo? Probably November 8. We'll take November 8 orange line, and then we will hook a right onto November. That's actually pretty easy. Okay, great. So, beacon light on. Let's get the APU started. APU starting up. We'll get the APU bleed going. Okay, so while it is starting, looks like it's raining outside, which is fine. Conditions are not going to be dry anymore, so we're going to recalculate for wet. V2 really hasn't changed, and V rotate hasn't changed that much, so I'm not going to bother to recalculate performance. It usually takes me a second or two to actually, get going anyway, so we should be within limitations. Flex temp also hasn't changed either, but the adjustment to flaps is now down 0.1. So we're pretty close to that right now. We'll deal with that shortly. Let's get to ATC and change the squawk code. Squawk code is going to be, for me, 2257 as always. And now we're going to be auto, and we're going to do display mode normal and altitude reporting on. We're going to go straight to TARA for our prep, and that should take care of us. Also, make sure flight deck door is locked, and that should do it. We are running off the APU bleed, so we can go ahead and disconnect the external power, which already looks like it has been disconnected, and now we can get back taxi. Okay, push back, and let's see. We should be fine at this point. The taxiway is disconnecting, and ground crew's coming over to take care of us. Danke. Okay. Anything that I forgot to set up over here? I don't think so. We've got the flight plan, performance, squawk, and well, once we get going, I need to set up my weather system, but I'm not going to broadcast my radar right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. We will double check ground spoiler once we get ready to go. Okay, so far so good. Ooh, nice. Looks like I just crashed the sim. That's fantastic. I got a error device hung error. Ooh. I don't think it was due to the GPU overheating, but I will double check my HW monitor, and we'll try this again. All right, so give me a moment. Let me just make sure the GPU temp isn't going crazy. That's interesting. Haven't had a problem like that in a while. So it's a high GPU load now, but I'm not reading crazy high GPU temperatures. Even the hotspot only maxed out at 60. So it's not like my old 2060 Super that used to get like regularly to 83 or 85 degrees before I maxed out the fans. So could have been a problem with the graphics driver. I will take a few moments to double check it, and hopefully it won't take me too long to get reloaded. Let me put you guys on a be right back screen, and then we're going to see if I actually run into problems again. Let's see. All right, well, let's find out. There we go. There we go. Looks like it crashed the desktop. That's fine. We're going to give it another shot. We're going to try to see if we can actually get the sim reloaded. I'm going to, as the kids say, speed run the setup. I'm not going to go through the usual rigors of getting everything set up on, you know, boarding people, getting all the luggage loaded. I'll just do an instant load, and then we will try again. If it fails a second time, I don't know what I'm going to do at that point. Maybe I'll load into FS 2024 and we'll do some, landing challenges. What I probably should have done was actually double check to see if there was a graphics driver update that I could have installed, but I'm loading into the sim right now. Standby. I think I'm using a studio driver right now, so I'm not worried about it. Let me just check. There is a studio driver that released earlier this month, which I apparently missed. I can probably install it now, or I'm just going to go ahead and try to fly this flight again. If I run into another problem, I'm going to choose whether or not I'm going to, like cancel the stream and install it, and then just like chill or whatever. But it's no big deal. No big deal. I'm glad the crash to desktop happened now and not during like takeoff roll or cruise going down to Marrakesh. I'm definitely going to be accelerating time at this point. I don't know if I'm going to make it today. Not sure. Not sure. Actually, I got to get up for a moment anyway. So let the screens load in, or I'm sorry, the sim roll in, load in, and then I'll get back to you guys in a bit and see if we can speed run getting out of Frankfurt and flying to Marrakesh. I'm going to give it one more try. If it does not work, we will do something different. Stand by. All right, everybody, I'm back. Thanks for waiting for me, or if I'm talking to an empty room, no problem at all. We are going to try to fly to Marrakesh. We had a system crash, excuse me, a sim crash a little while ago. Looks like for some reason either the silicon fried or I crashed the desktop because of some kind of memory issue. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'm not flying with, extremely high quality graphics settings. We're going to give it another shot, and the registration and that stuff should still be there. I should be able to reload my sim brief plan because that hasn't changed. We're going to reload into Frankfurt, and we're going to try to do this again. Again, if we get the same kind of system crash, then I'll probably do something else. Maybe do some trucking, or maybe just call the stream at that point and just be like, hey, this isn't going to work out, guys. I'm going to have to do this some other time. Blah, blah, blah. All that jazz. So, there we go. Flight conditions. We're going to do preset time. And again, we're going to do like around 1020 UTC. And here we go. We'll see if this works out, chat. Is pretty cloudy over in Frankfurt, so that's cool. I did see one of my temps for my processor went over 91 degrees, but I think I should be fine. It was a GPU issue though, so we'll see what's up. Ooh, wait a minute. Is it legit, like, snowing over there? No, it's probably just, crazy cloudy, so I can't see much. But that's fine. Let's get inside the bird and get everything fired back up. Again, this is going to be a much faster setup, so I'm not going to worry about doing a whole bunch of the usual GSX things. And remove the chocks, get the bird started up, and we'll do instant loading, and we'll get everything taken care of as per usual. So, let's see. Standard compass lighting, standard, seatbelt signs, and no smoking, emergency lights, armed, crew supply, 8 years, and battery. So, let's get the flight details resynced, and I'm not going to worry. I'm going to assume everybody's loaded, everything's taken care of, and I'm going to make sure I have the payload. We're going to apply the load instantly, and same process should apply. I haven't changed any of the configuration in terms of how many passengers I'm taking or cargo, so 81,100 should still apply as the config. Conditions wet. Sync for 18, altimeter 1013, and we're going to calculate. Yeah, pretty much same data applies. FMGCS is going to hit my data, and we should be getting out of here shortly. So, stand by. Again, like I said, not going to worry too much about it. We're going to hit the road, hopefully pretty quickly. Again, still a current AirAx cycle. We will request a flight plan, and we'll do performance. We'll take the updated numbers since they are configured for the current conditions. And 43 is still flex temp, and I'm still going to do flaps 1 with a down of 0.1 unless that's changed. No, it hasn't. So, confirm takeoff data. Takeoff data set. And flight plan. Again, the Neki 2 departure out of runway 18 And for Marrakesh, we're going to be using the, I think, Maybap 2 Bravo, was it? No, Maybap 4 Alpha for the RNAV 28. Nothing there, no discontinuity should be, and initial climb is going to be 4,000. Flight deck and constraints, we should be set, and fuel, still the same, running off of external power, APU, we'll get the cabin set. Like I always like to say, a cold passenger is a compliant passenger, so we'll get her nice and chilled. IRS is going to take 5 minutes to finish aligning. That's fine. I'm going to wait until we're closer to 2 minutes or 1 minute so that we can actually get the APU started up and not burn through so much fuel. We'll come back down here, set up the squawk code like per usual, and should be okay. ATC mode auto, normal, squawking TARA, altitude reporting on, and that takes care of that. I almost wish I could align the IRS instantly, but I don't know where to go to actually finish the IRS alignment that quickly. And I'm kind of sort of not in that much of a hurry. Again, if we run into a sim crash again, I'll figure out what to do. Okay, anything else that I forgot to do on the MCP? I don't think so. Let's get nav logo lights to position 2, beacon light to on, and how many minutes left? 4 minutes. Get the fuel pumps on, and it takes like about a minute, so I think we should be okay to get the APU started. Bleeds, window heats, master switch for the APU, should have APU running in 3, 2, 1, now. Anti-ice for departure, I'm probably going to have wing anti-ice on. I don't predict a situation where we're going to need engine anti-ice for a departure, but I might just turn them on just to be safe, because number one, I don't know what I'm talking about with regards to anti-ice, and number two, when it's precept like this, I'm just going to go ahead and throw them all on just to be safe. Once the APU is finished spinning up, I will request pushback, or I could probably skip the whole thing and just do manual pushback myself by turning on the engines at the gate and just pushing back. But again, thanks to everybody that stopped by today. Appreciate having you with me. Hopefully this time we will actually be able to fly from Frankfurt to Marrakesh. If it doesn't happen, I might do a discovery flight or like a landing challenge just for fun, and then possibly just call the stream at that point and be good. Also, I was hoping to get a flight in before everybody started streaming World Flight, because, you know, I'd basically be a hot dog at a steakhouse at that point, with good reason. You know, so many people, so many amazing people streaming World Flight as they raise money for various charities, and, you know, here I am just flying a flight for fun. So, again, I don't hold a candle to them, and I'd actually look forward to seeing many of them fly as well. Looks like the APU bleed is running though, so we are going to go ahead and request pushback. Okay, at this point, they should be coming over shortly. There's the pushback vehicle. Superb.
Frankfurt Airport Information Yankee, 1900 Zulu. Wind 166 at 6. Visibility.
I wish the sound didn't get loud. I'm going to have to uninstall the NVIDIA HD driver, I think, for the audio. I think. GPS primary is online. That's good. Right on time. Ish. Okay, let's do nose left, tail right. Parking brakes released. Okay, wonderful. We'll get the timer started and we will go ahead and switch over. Ignition mode start. Engine number 2 start up, please. We will put flaps 1 into position, which will be available once we get going. And again, a quick check of performance data. Yeah, we should be fine. I will go ahead and say that the quality of bespoke airports in FS 2024 is really nice. I really like flying out of places like Frankfurt and where else did I go? Frankfurt and I think Amsterdam as well. Okay, 18%. Let me go ahead and fire up engine number 1. Down 0.1 set for the trim. Am I on the orange line right now? Let me see. I am not. I'm on the yellow line. Not that it matters. Also looks like engine number 1 is spinning up. EGT is rising. And it is muy caliente right now. Parking brakes set. Let's go ahead and confirm right now. We're good. Okay, while they are disconnecting us, let's go ahead and make sure the flight controls work. Flight controls full left. Flight controls full right. Full forward. Full back. Full left deflection. Full right deflection. Rudder's work. Speed brakes deploy. Wonderful. Weather system 1, armed. Okay, so we should have, there we go, we have weather. That's superb. Okay, where are our friends? Pushback truck's going away. Looks like the ground handler has the gear pin. There we go. Gear pin's in place. Well, in his hands. Danke. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. There we go. That's better. All right. Now, again, this time we'll follow the yellow line to November, and we can get going at this point. Flight controls checked, free and clear. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Initialize weight. Okay, did we forget to do that? Oh my goodness. Again. That's embarrassing. I seem to be getting in the habit of not actually going to the second page of the flight plan to get the, you know, like the fuel and the CG setup. But fortunately, again, this plane kind of like compensates for me, so I'm happy. Okay, takeoff config, are we good? Yeah, we are. Okay, 4 minutes in. If that's the only thing that I did wrong, I'll be happy with that. Let's go ahead and release parking brake and turn off the APU bleed while we start rolling. APU bleed off, APU off, taxi light on. I will arm the strobe lights and drop the landing gear lights into place. Anything else that I'm forgetting to do? I don't think so. I don't think so. Actually, we're not taxiing under our own strength right now. It's kind of interesting. Quick check. We're good. The volumetric clouds are giving my PC a run for its money right now. It's okay. engine stable. Here we go. Lex SRS. 100 knots. Seen. Don't know why it was marked with an X, even though it was available. V1. And rotate. Here we go. Gentle, gentle. This is an A321. Wonderful. Positive rate of climb. We'll go gear up. Flaps and slats in. 700. Autopilot on. Just outrunning the yellow line. And we'll get the anti-ice just to be safe. Nose light off. I'm going to go toga. Because for some reason we didn't trigger any kind of warning or caution from the ECAM. And again, that's most likely my fault because I forgot to initialize the weights and CG in the flight plan page. Okay, thrust speed, and let's finish climbing to our top altitude. Top altitude is going to be 370 for today's hop. .370. There we go. Thrust is set to speed. And manage climb. Okay, leaving Frankfurt and its vicinity behind as we climb out. Got quite a bit of rain in the area, and we can go to standard. Altimeter standard. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn my landing lights off because I'm lazy like that. So, gear is up. Flaps are fully retracted. We can disarm ground spoiler. And lights are off. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the electronic device restriction, and we should be breaking out shortly. Once we get reasonably above the clouds, I will probably also turn off the anti-ice. And that should take care of business. Alright, so after we break out of the clouds and make sure that we're set up, I'll probably begin to accelerate time. Unless, of course, I shouldn't, since I do have folks flying with me. Um, I know MSAP was going to be flying on VATSIM. We should be getting set to break out shortly. $10,000 feet. I mean, we definitely have the landing lights off at this point, so we're okay. Climbing at about 1,100 feet per minute. We're not necessarily in a rush to get to cruise altitude. I've climbed faster, but we are carrying like 81,100 kilos of cargo and people, so I would understand if we don't climb that fast. It would be nice to get up above this band of rain, though. And I think I have turbulence turned on, so this could actually pose a problem if we're not careful. We will see. Hello, Sky Command. Welcome aboard, my friend. Hopefully you're doing very well today. I am looking forward to seeing people flying on World Flight, and I hope that you're having a great afternoon. Appreciate you saying hi. Of course, I'm not anybody's savior. My savior and the world's savior is Jesus. But I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. I hope you're feeling okay. Hope you're having a really good day. Seeing you on IMC, that's right. We're flying out of Frankfurt. We're going to Marrakesh in Morocco. And we got some rain showers coming out of service. And looks like we have another system that's ahead of us, probably closer to Austria. No, no, we got a ways to go. This isn't even Austria yet. I don't think I'm going to see the Alps for another 30-40 minutes, if I even see them at all. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be seeing any mountains under all this cloud cover, but barring an issue, I think I can probably turn off the anti-ice at this point. Yeah, we're flying in FS 2024. We're flying the A321neo. I am flying off network, so I'm not flying on VATSIM or like IVAO. But I'm kind of warming up to the systems again. It's been a while since I've even tried being anywhere close to study level. And I want to make sure that if I hop on VATSIM flying this, I know exactly what to do or where to go. Yeah. If you're flying through bumpy weather, flight attendants should be seated. That's for sure. I'm thinking that's what you were saying before. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. It took me a while to get FS 2024 configured nicely on my computer. I'm not working with like um, a super potato, but at the same time I kind of am. My PC is from like 4 years ago, so in terms of running the latest and greatest stuff, it is possible it's going to be behind the times. I have a 5900X and a 3060 Ti, and it's not the greatest for frame rate and graphical fidelity, but I figured out how to make it work. And the strangest thing was I turned off hardware GPU scheduling, and that actually gave me frame rate. One of my friends, Sogan Okami, said that it's interesting that turning that off increased my frame rate because that's supposed to actually tell different applications how to share GPU load. It struck me as odd, unless FS 2024 is really, really picky about what applications use its GPU resources, or if OBS was just being a bear and said, no, I want all the GPU for myself. Whatever the case is, now I'm doing okay. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm enjoying the I'm enjoying the view. It's looking nice, even though it is cloudy. And I'm pretty sure I was going to be flying down to Marrakesh at an accelerated rate of speed. If I do real time from Frankfurt to Marrakesh, it's going to be easily like three some odd hours, 3.5 hours, like as of like right now. So slap on another 3 hours to this flight real time, and that's what it would take to go from Frankfurt to Marrakesh to Golf Mike Mike X-Ray. But I'm cool. I'm chilling. I'm happy. We ran into a sim crash before we actually got taxiing earlier, so I retried again, but I think we're okay now. If I fly this flight real time, I will land around 7 o'clock my time. So I do think there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to stick to the plan and actually accelerate flight time to get there 4 times as quickly. It's something that I started doing to cover large portions of the globe as I do world tour flights, and it's something that I do because it works. It works for me. Some people will only ever actually do flying in the sim in real time. And typically on air traffic controlled networks, you almost always have to request permission to do that. And, you know, by you requesting permission doesn't guarantee that you'll get it. Whereas I wanted to cover large portions of terrain, large distances on world flights. So, for example, the flights that I've done to date: Vancouver to Tokyo Narita to Singapore, Singapore to New Delhi, New Delhi to Istanbul. And then I did a couple of real-time flights, one from Istanbul to Corfu, no, Skiathos. And then I drove around Greece for a little while and then took off from Corfu to Frankfurt. And so most of those flights usually take more than 2 or 3 hours to do real time, which is why I did 2x and 4x modes to go faster. And fortunately, it does look like I'm going to at least get above most of the cloud cover and the weather for these weather systems that are in the neighborhood. Let me take a look at my charts. Let's see. So, world map. I am flirting, looks like, with the border of France. We're getting into like the southwestern portion of Germany. And then once I get out of Germany, I'm probably going to wind up in Switzerland before I hook a right and then fly southern France before Spain. And so far, so good. So, yeah. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. And Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, I give you this stream and this afternoon. I pray that your will is done and that you take care of us. Watch over us, watch over your family in Christ, and forgive our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. In Jesus' name, amen. So, had a good thing happen recently. I went to I went to actually I didn't go I didn't go too far. I made it sound like I was traveling somewhere. I'm a remote worker, so I get to work from home, and I'm very grateful for that. And I've been dealing with life stuff right now, Mrs. Digi's health, and our current situation. I'm I can I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to say that my company is working with me to take care of some of the brunt of the additional financial hardship that I've been experiencing. So I'm grateful to them for their consideration. Are things perfect? Are things exactly the way they need to be right now? No. No, they're not. But I'm grateful that I'm anywhere close to a solution. So, taking a break right now. I will probably see what needs to be done around the house a little bit later, and we will see what's up. Fuzzy Pickles, my man, welcome aboard. Very good to see you. We are on our way to Morocco. We left Frankfurt, Germany about 17 minutes ago. We're climbing to flight level 370 in the A321neo, and we are taking in some very, very cloudy landscapes and some rainy vistas as we get down to North Africa. We're going to be up in the air. If I keep this in real time, we're going to be up in the air for about 3.5 hours, and then if I accelerate time, we'll be there considerably faster. I will probably accelerate time, probably, just so I can finish in time to start seeing other world flights take place and to make sure that I'm able to support Mrs. Digi. Um, just an update, Mrs. Digi continues on her um, recovery. It continues to not be easy, and we're not in the best predicament right now, but Yahweh Elohim understands, and you know, God is capable of carrying us through any and every situation safely, or we'll learn from the bumps we experience along the way. It is good to see you as well, Fuzzy Pickles. I really appreciate having you aboard. It's nice to have you. Here's the plane that we're flying today. Earphone warning, it's going to get loud. This is the A321neo. This is provided courtesy of Any Builds. We're flying the World Travel livery. Registration number 820 Romeo Bravo. And this is, of course, a fictional airline, but I like the blue and white here. I'm a fan of the kind of simpler designs of the time. So this is like a nice looking plane. And it's got the range too. We're not going to have a problem getting down to Marrakesh. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate the prayer support. It's definitely welcome. Fortunately, things haven't been horrible lately in terms of workload and things like that. So I'm able to do work and kind of like get up occasionally and see what I can do for Mrs. DG. Really, I think the situation for me is I want to get to a place where I can definitely be more helpful from a financial perspective and take care of the things that we need to take care of so that we can actually do more of the things that we want to do. But I told somebody this recently. There's probably a reason why I experienced the difficulties that I went through in the past like year and a half, 2 years with regards to work and finances. They've transformed me into somebody else. And I would like to be done with all of that right now, but apparently that's not what's, gonna happen. So it is what it is, and I can't change that. So I think I just need to be mindful of the present circumstances and do the best that I can, and just keep at it, keep working hard, but not crazy hard. I just know that there's only so much that I can do, and I need to. Maybe I just need to wait. Yeah. I don't usually say how old I am, and I'm not going to say that today. Most people, if they spent a modicum of time figuring out what I say or do on stream, will usually be able to peg my age range. But I will say that at this point in my life, I am dealing with some chronologically assisted natural life slowdowns. I have my share of aches and pains, which which I chuckle when I think about, because back when I was a younger version of myself, those were not even considerations on my mind. But I don't know. I don't think there are very many people right now that aren't dealing with some kind of physical ailment. Um, I'm certainly not excluded from that, and Mrs. DIGI unfortunately isn't either. And, circumstances right now are not impossible, but they're so far, removed from being easy. I just wish that things being what they are, that they were better. I do think it's important for all of us to, work more closely together to either help carry each other's burdens, or at least work closer towards a solution of some kind. Um, Not saying that that's always the requirement, but I do like to uh, at least listen to people. Let's see, 2,600 feet above. We've got some incoming traffic off of our 3 o'clock. There we go. Can I see? Just gonna go ahead and get buzzed over. We're gonna be okay. It's not gonna be a factor. They are off my 3 o'clock, but they are not going to be an issue. So disregard. Let me see if I can switch my view to catch them. There they go. There they are. Nice. A little bit of turbulence, not much. Okay, so not a factor, and we are slowly climbing to 37,000 feet. No weather right now, just loads of clouds coming up on flight level 360 and probably even 370. Um, I don't think it goes into much detail, but if you enable crashes, you might end your flight because of coming into contact with another aircraft. You probably will. But it's not the kind of like, visceral, my wing got sheared off, kind of like in like DCS. I think it's just like, you impact something, you're done flying. So as a whole, I generally don't run with collision detection or crashes enabled in the sim. Matter of fact, let me just check that real quick. I don't think I have that turned on. Flight interface, advanced options, assistances, realism. Here we go. So disable crash damage, disable aircraft stress damage, disable engine stress damage. So I think what's going to happen is, assuming there's any kind of an impact, it's not going to register. So, I could theoretically go straight through an aircraft and have no problem. X-plane, on the other hand, X-plane is way more in a realistic sim in that regard. Um, Again, it's still not necessarily the same as like DCS for like, visual indications of problems with their aircraft, but I can't disable, or at least I don't know where to go to disable crashes. So if I am flying through turbulent weather and my airframe suffers critical loss of structural stability, I'm cooked. Like if I'm landing in winter at an airport in the mountains and I forget to take into consideration icing and winds and my stall speed, I'm hosed. I'll be taken down. The common phrase that I use, in MSFS, the weather looks imposing and mean, and you can get icing, but in general, it's something that you can either avoid or just deal with. In X-Plane 12, the weather can literally take you out. So if I'm looking for like way more or closer to real life approximations of what's going on, then whatchamacallit, I can usually fly X-Plane 12. And to be honest, I think I want to actually fly more X-Plane 12 flights in the future. I guess it depends on like my schedule or what I want to do, but at the same time, I I want to get there at some point and spend more time there because it's a nice sim to explore the world and my local community in. It is a nice sim. Okay, I'm at cruise, and I'm gonna be at cruise for easily about the next like 2 hours, or at least hour and a half. So, with apologies to anyone that's gonna be following along in multiplayer, I'm going to probably be cruising the next segment at 4 times the normal sim rate. So I'm gonna hit the R button, press the Shift plus key once, which is going to throw off my chronometer, but I don't care. And then go Shift plus again, and now we are 4x speed, which means we're going to see turbulence way more readily as we slice across the sky. We're going 4 times the normal rate, so it's also possible the autopilot is going to be slightly hampered or encumbered by my additional rate of speed and may have some problems keeping to the magenta line, but we'll see what's up. Oh yeah, afterburners in full effect. This is how I cover large swaths of the ground. Now, if I leave it this way, this plane will happily keep threading the needle in terms of trying to stay on the green line, which is my destination. So usually what happens is I go back to 2x speed or 1x speed, and then the autopilot latches back onto the line, what I used to call the magenta line, and then We get reconnected with the autopilot line, and then we're fine. Now I'm back to 2x speed right now. And once we get stable with that line, I can go back to 4x speed. It's not that the plane is not going to follow it at 4x speed. It's that for some reason, the difference in autopilot inputs between, 1x, 2x, and 4x sim rate, it's not the same. Ooh, we've got somebody just spawned in behind us. All good. And the interesting thing is, AI aircraft still function in sim rates as high up as 4x. In the old sim, in Microsoft Flight Simulator X, once you got to 8x sim rate and faster, it wasn't going to simulate air traffic. So 4x is usually, like for me, the sweet spot for accelerated flying. Also, it's probably not the best idea to actually go faster than 4x anyway, unless you really want to cover the globe really quickly, which I did used to do in my earlier days with my Sims. So I usually keep things here because they're about as stable as I'm going to stay. Yeah, I've spent many hours on many Sims across the years, and in general, if I'm going to be going faster than 4x sim rate, there's a reason why. But the funny thing is, with the older sim, with Microsoft Flight Simulator or FS 2020, when they released the Top Gun add-on with the Dark Star, there was no reason to use 4x speed because that plane cruises at like anywhere between Mach 8 and Mach 10. So I flew from JFK to London Heathrow in a literal 40 minutes. No need for time acceleration because basically it was like I was running in like, super duper speed mode in real time. It's a fake aircraft, but it was so funny. I even streamed one day. I flew from Boston to Orlando in about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And then I flew from, no, way less than that. I flew from Boston to Orlando in about 20 minutes. And the same from like Orlando to Houston in the Dark Star. Because I was cruising like Mach 8 point something at about 130,000 feet. And essentially, I trimmed the aircraft out and just stayed with the thing the whole time, and and had a blast, a literal blast. It was fantastic. Flight simming has come a long way, I will say that much, and I'm more and more appreciative of how good looking FS 2024 is, and the advancements that I think it's made in terms of graphics and performance. I mean, it makes low and medium graphics presets look amazing, which is exactly where I need to be right now because my computer's not that powerful. I don't have a 4080 or 5080 card. I don't have a crazy fast processor anymore. So it's like, this is what I have. I have to make the most of it. So it is definitely an enjoyable experience right now. Now that I've gotten the sim graphics and performance to a place where I can sit back and enjoy them, I'm happy about it. And no, I do fly in real time as well. Even like I fly at like 1x or like actual 1 hour flight time, 1 hour real time. But I find for the world tour, this gives me the opportunity to see the world go by and cover some fairly interesting sectors that I wouldn't otherwise spend time flying in. Like, for example, We're going to get to Marrakesh, and I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to fly from Marrakesh down to, say, for example, Ghana in the western portion of Africa, and then fly across the Atlantic Ocean to Brazil. Or from Marrakesh, I might go to Fuerteventura and then to Madeira in like the Portuguese islands, and then fly north to maybe, for example, St. John's or something. But I think the intention for me is going to be to explore South America by means of Africa. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to get to the southwestern tip of Africa and then cross the Atlantic Ocean and wind up in um, one of the northern portions of Brazil, maybe fly down to Rio or to Santos Dumont, and then fly to Chile and fly up the spine of South America to either Peru, Ecuador, or Colombia, and then up a little bit into, like, say, Panama, Central America, and then over to the Caribbean, check out Florida, fly up the East Coast to the Maritimes in Canada, or or fly Central America, fly up to like the Caribbean, fly to Florida, fly to like Texas and like Cali, and then do another long haul from like LA to JFK, JFK to um, um, Halifax, and then like Halifax to like Toronto, Toronto to Winnipeg, and then Winnipeg back to Vancouver and call it a tour. And that would be very cool and a very nice way to wrap up. Something which I never planned on doing anyway. But it is what it is. If I never finish it, I never finish it. I'm not worried about it. I'm just trying to be chill. And if I was being truly transparent and really honest, life's rough right now. I'm not afraid to admit that I have been mentally exhausted, trying to figure out how to get through stuff, trying to figure out how to make things work. Um, you know, keep providing for my family, and I have been looking, like so many people have been looking. I've been trying to keep myself marketable as an IRL software developer. It's not easy. It's really rough right now. So many of us are experiencing difficulty and hardship, and I'll be the first person to admit to you that it gets rough. The difficult stuff isn't difficult because it's difficult. The difficult stuff is difficult because it just it wears you down. It wears you down. I know it does me every once in a while. And you just wonder, like, when you're going to be done learning your lesson, when you're going to be done um, figuring out what works and what doesn't, so that you can get back to, I don't know, uh, uh, getting ice cream on Thursday nights, so that you can get back to, hanging out with your friends in Discord, and like, catching their conversation about what version of Battlefield just dropped, so that you can actually spend a few extra bucks on the DLC or the loot pack. You want to figure out what to do so that you can get back to, saying hi to a good friend or family, and kicking back with a drink or two. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I remember part of your story as well, Fuzzy. So it's almost like, to me, there's a temptation for me to say, yeah, like, I'm one to talk. Some people are having it worse than I do. But there's this thing. I forget what the exact name of it is. It's I forget what the name of the term is. But when you dismiss your own difficulty because of somebody experiencing worse things than you, forgive me. There's like a just different. um, there's the best way that I can say it is kind of like the starving children in a third world country argument. The argument that says the argument that says, hey, you know, I know I'm going through difficult stuff, but there are people that have it 10 times worse than I do, 100 times worse than I do. And kind of like what you're doing is you're basically setting yourself up for failure. You're you are basically saying that your concerns don't matter because there is somebody out there who is experiencing another level of difficulty that you're not, and you're basically devaluing the experience that you're having because you or somebody you think of, you're probably expecting them to say, yeah, well, like, I know you have it rough, but think about this person or think about the other person. And it's like, I try really hard sometimes to make my support of my friends and my family not be about being able to decode their situation, but just being present, just sitting with them in their funk. And I'll be the first person to admit I don't have as much strength as I think I do, but at the same time, I really, like, I want to support people, I want to support friends, I want to support family, and part of that just means being quiet and sitting and not trying to extract some meaningful life lesson or something out of the circumstance where I'm in, but just sitting and that's it. Like, the wins feel so much more fantastic when like, you've been through the ringer. Getting to those wins is a different story altogether. I wish there were more wins in my life right now. I'll say that much. Um, do I want there not to be any negative circumstances in my life right now? Of course I do. But I'd be remiss if I didn't reflect on the lessons that those things taught me or the strength that I gained from enduring them. It's rough. It's just rough. And I think in general, I appreciate I appreciate. I'm going to reset the chrono because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be realistic based on me accelerating time. This one actually does work because of the fact that it's actually responding to the time updates. So this one's actually still accurate. Actually, I think that chrono was accurate, so I think I'm good. The older I get, the more I appreciate being able to take a deep breath. Oh, 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 you and me both, buddy. I'm so happy that in one sense, it's not up to me to make sure that my life's um, um, perfectly balanced and stuff like that. Because if it was, I would destroy myself. I would destroy myself. Like, Yahweh's provision is so much better than mine. Yeah, that goes without saying. Oh my gosh, yeah. I would be in such trouble if it was if it depended on me being able to execute everything correctly. And I have messed my life up in many ways, or at least a few. So I am well aware, well aware of the circumstances regarding life and the results of my own decisions. And I am grateful for not just not just God's wisdom, but his mercy. And not just his mercy, but his grace. That through Jesus Christ, I not only have somebody that took what was righteously going to be my punishment, which is eternal separation from God in a place called hell, which is going to be a very real, literal place where you literally go. And through Christ, I get to spend eternity with my Heavenly Father in heaven, which is both undeserved and fully paid for through Christ. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Does it make the situation any better? Nope. Does it mean that somebody knows what's going on and has it well in hand? Yes. Yahweh Elohim does, the Most High. So, I'm trying to really be deliberate about doing things. Actually, do I have anybody hanging out with me? Because that's either real-time traffic or somebody following along on in multiplayer. Hang on. I can't tell because they're probably about 10 to 20 nautical miles back. But they'd probably be somewhere around here. Yeah, I can't tell. No, that was probably real-time traffic. And they were probably going the other way. Or going to a different airport. Let me switch my view because I want to see the mountains I'm flying over. I am about to fly over the Pyrenees. I flew through the Alps a little while ago. Oh, I can't see the those mountains right now. I'm grateful that my Heavenly Father thinks so much of me. Time. Duh, duh. Okay, stabilized. That's 2x. That's 4x. Here we go. All right. More incoming aircraft just below. Right off my probably 2 o'clock. They've probably already flown under me. Yeah, busy sector. That's cool. I I forgot to turn off my timer for the Streamlabs donate thing. Feel free to ignore it. I never, like this is a thing. I rarely like to mention things like that. If it's in your interest to chip in a few pennies or whatever, feel free. But again, just people hanging out and chat and talking, that is a benefit to me. Um, if somebody who's really well off wants to donate a couple grand, I'll take it. But you guys don't have to chip in if you don't want to, if you don't feel like it. I totally understand. But definitely appreciate having everybody with me today as we fly down to Marrakesh. And if I was in a different setup and I wasn't like taking care of some other stuff, I would most likely be flying real time and just taking in the experience. It's not that I couldn't, it's just that I find myself not wanting to be behind the controls of an aircraft for as long anymore. Fuzzy Pickles, so do I. I wish I could chip in for people on a regular basis. And it doesn't have to do with the ego. It doesn't have to do with like my desire to be known as somebody that does that. It's because I know I know how amazing it feels to be able to step into someone's world and just give them an extra thank you. Give them an extra, financial reminder. Hey, I'm here to back you up. Or hey, here's a gift sub. Or hey, here's $20. Here's $50. Here's $100. The amount sometimes matters, but to me, what also matters is being able to support someone. And being in a position like that is great. And for a little while I kind of was. And I was able to, support people, support ministries, drop into someone's chat and drop some gift subs and send some love that way. Like, it's how it happens. But sometimes you can't as well. And maybe, not that I'm saying that I know this, but maybe sometimes not being able to donate or chip into somebody is way less about the amount and more about why am I supporting somebody? Why am I, trying to be there to back somebody up? Is it because I want to give them help, or is it because I want to get recognized for it? And all things considered, I don't want to get into a situation where it's like, oh, well, like that's what I want to do. I want to back somebody up. I want to do this, because that, the other thing. Like, that's why I want to do what I want to do. Like, when in reality, it might be because I want to look good. And, like, I'm not going to pretend that there are sometimes ulterior motives behind somebody donating or wanting to look good in front of somebody else. I mean, you know, you might go to church as a teenager and sing really well in the choir, all the while, like, saying hi to somebody that you want to make your girlfriend. This happens. Um, so it's like it's kind of like the old movie White Christmas with Bing Crosby. Like, his character was Bob Wallace. And he was talking to uh, one of the sisters and saying, like you get used to everybody having angles. That's how we are. That's how we are. So it's not something that's lost on someone like me, for example. It's what we do. Okay. I have no idea what that's like. You're either speaking the truth or you're being silly. Uh, I'll let you fill in the blank. Okay. I'm actually almost midway through Spain, and Forex, this would probably be right about like 2 hours and 20 minutes into the flight, maybe 2.5 hours. So we've probably got like another hour before we need to start descent, which basically means we probably have another 15 minutes of real time, which means I'm probably going to want to get my performance data calculated for the arrival. Now, destination, fuel on board, below minimums. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Speed error, speed limit exceeded, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. Probably because of my 4x speed mode. I don't care. Again, Let me take a look at the information for Marrakesh Manada International. Weather right now, we have winds 260 at 3, 260 at 3. Temperature is 22. QNH is 1022. So the pressure is higher than standard. And the transition altitude for the approach, I don't know what that is. And I don't think, oh, 6,000 feet. 6,000 feet is transition. And I'm probably going to land flaps full with an approach speed of 137 knots. And to be honest, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Oh, I'm always super serious. That's great. Yeah, man. Been a mostly cloudy trek today. I was I was kind of hoping to see some ground, but I guess that's not going to happen. We will be descending beneath the cloud layer. At least I would presume we will, unless we're landing in like Lukla or Paro in the Himalayas. Welcome to the Himalayas. Why did that pop in my head just now? That's hilarious. Uh, I do kind of sort of wish I was on my way to Disney right now because they have the holiday decorations up already. Just don't eat the yellow snow. Got it. Um, Noted. I I think the last couple of years, or I want to say two at least, the last two times that we went to Disney were around early December. So seeing the decorations, catching things like the candlelight processional, enjoying holiday Christmas themed things. Those are things that I appreciate, that I enjoy. Okay, I think that is the Malaga VOR. And again, we have like a little bit more to go, but we're not to Morocco just yet. And if I take a look at my map again, we have probably either flown past Madrid, or we're going to. Yeah, we flew past Madrid a long time ago. So we're on our way probably to Malaga, and then from there we're going to cross I guess the Mediterranean Strait at that point. So we are going to see, if we don't see Gibraltar off to our right, we will see a whole bunch of water really soon. But thanks again to everybody that's said hello or stopped in or is flying along. And my apologies if anybody wanted to fly real time. I am flying 4X. I do want to get down to Morocco, to Marrakesh, in time to, get up, take care of some stuff, and start watching some of the folks that are doing World Flight. World Flight kicks off this week, or the next 7 days, and it's basically a bunch of flights and pilots on teams flying for charity, raising money for various causes. Like, for example, Simfest UK flies to, I think, raise funds for the Lullaby Trust. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Lullaby Trust is essentially an organization that helps people. Actually, I need to learn more about the Lullaby Trust, because there was a different organization that somebody else was raising money for, which did something similar, but not similar, did something different involving parents and infants. So I guess I'd have to learn more about them. I mean, great opportunity for me to learn about the organization since I'm going to be watching those teams this coming week. But yeah, I want to get down to the ground at Marrakesh and just chill, take care of business, do whatever I have to do for Mrs. Digi without you know being stupid and not taking care of myself. Because I'm guilty of doing that. I am guilty of doing that. My biggest problem is stress. Um, Being stressed out will do you more damage than a high fat, high alcohol lifestyle, in my opinion. Which is why, at least in the past, you know, folks in different countries, you know, people that people that went to Italy and like lived there for a while lost weight by eating a whole bunch of like spaghetti and like dishes over there. People that like lived in France for a while and ate high fat food and drank wine got healthier, which is really strange to me, but it's not at the same time. Well, Fuzzy Pickles, thank you so much. I appreciate being able to hang out with you and hang out with my online pals. I appreciate being able to say hello and to hang out, even if it's just for a bit. And don't think I don't don't think I don't feel bad when I have to go away after only hanging out on your stream for like 15, 20 minutes. But at the same time, there's like a bunch of stuff that I try to do over the course of like a day or an evening. So I treat my time with people as opportunities to say hello, focus on what they're doing, and sometimes I can hang out for a while, and sometimes I can't. Oh, MSEP, don't even feel bad about saying that at all. Uh, I mean, in the appropriate channels, I could probably talk to you for a while about my actual take on American cuisine, but basically the problem that we have is that we have like exactly, and like not every single piece of cheese that I've eaten is like processed, but there's certain foods where it's like we understand it's processed, we know it's processed, but we eat it anyway out of sheer convenience. Um, and that's the case with a lot of stuff going on. And my hope is over the next several years that we're going to start to peel the layers back on that and see how much processed stuff we eat, how many chemicals we put into our system that we don't have a need to do so that we can actually be healthier, be better. I think we're about to go feet wet. So that means off to my right is probably going to be where we see Gibraltar, probably down that way. I might not see it today because of the clouds though, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. But yeah. We we definitely have cheese or processed food issues in the States. Book of Gaming, my friend, welcome aboard. Love your soul, buddy. Happy to have you. We are about to cross into North Africa. We took off from Frankfurt earlier on stream, and we are going to land in Marrakesh as we continue the unofficially official world tour. We've flown out of places like Vancouver, Tokyo Narita, Singapore, New Delhi, Istanbul, Skiathos. Well, we've flown into Skiathos and we flew out of Corfu to Frankfurt, and now we're flying from Frankfurt to Marrakesh. I'm going to be hitting some African destinations up, at least one or two of them, before we go to South America, and then flap South America, Central America, Caribbean, the States, maybe even ping pong from Florida back into Mexico, and then go up the West Coast a little bit, go back to the East Coast, flap to Canada, and then go straight across Canada back to Vancouver for the win. Book of Gaming. Um, Better than I deserve, taking everything one moment at a time. Admittedly, and with total transparency, sometimes feeling overwhelmed and incapable of carrying out my goals. But that is where I believe Yahweh Elohim steps in and says, "You can't do this on your own. Let me help." Um, if I was being selfish and asking for prayer, I would say praying for wisdom, for healing for Mrs. Digi, and for healing for myself. I tend to regularly ignore my health and my rest needs to make sure other people are cared for, and I can't keep doing that, especially as I, you know, start to move the needle more in terms of my age. I have to take care of myself properly because, you know, this is the body I get. I don't get another one until I go home to be with my Lord and Savior forever in heaven. Um, until He says so. So yeah, I'll be the first person to admit I've done stupid with zeros on the end or with calories on the end. I need help. Yes, yes we do. Yes we do. And fortunately, more than a few of us pursue um, food that's actually good food to consume. So it's a thing. It actually exists. We do actually have things where it's like we actually do um, have good food. Ooh, that's a good point actually. Thanks for the reminder. I've been to Trader Joe's in the past, and they're boutique enough to have definitely non-standard fare that you would typically see, and at at okay prices. I mean, I don't have the money to spend on that right now. I barely have any money at all, to be completely honest. But it's definitely a me issue, not an anybody else's issue. And like I said before, I generally almost go out of my way not to ask people for help. Maybe because I'm stupid, but also because I generally appreciate it way more when folks have the ability to choose for themselves if and when they want to contribute to the cause, whether it's through, bits or with a sub or with a donation to like my Streamlabs account. Again, the fact that you guys are talking to me right now, that's such a blessing for me, that having somebody say like, oh well, like all Digi wants is like to get money from people. No, it's not. Like, I understand just how broke some of us are, myself included. So if you pay me with your attention in your conversation, it's a lovely way to appreciate the content. Avocado's pretty good. Yes, and I have been to Aldi. Aldi is such an amazing supermarket. Aldi and a couple of places which are value minded in terms of pricing. But Aldi is a great place to go for very inexpensively priced produce, meat, and dairy products. Yeah, it is a good place to go, and I do appreciate being able to go there. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time in my entire life, I am now on the western side of the African continent, flying to Morocco. It's amazing. It is utterly amazing. And let me see, actually. I can't see how long these legs are, but I would imagine at some point very soon I'm going to need to start descending. Probably in the next like 5 minutes or something. A 5 minute walk from your house to an Aldi? That's great. That's actually fantastic. Um, if I get the opportunity to make some smart purchases of food, I will probably go check out Aldi in the near future. I'm also looking forward to spending time with family where we will share meals and have some of the traditional Thanksgiving fare. Thanksgiving for Canada, I think, was like on the 25th. No, even before that. But Thanksgiving for us is going to be November the 25th, and or not November the 25th, the last Thursday of every Thanksgiving, and that changes. Sometimes it's before the 25th, sometimes it's after, sometimes it's on the 25th. IRL Paris to Marrakesh under 3 hours. Yeah, so we flew out of Frankfurt to Marrakesh. So that's like 3 hours 45 minutes, going on like a 4 hour block time. Thanksgiving is on Madeline's birthday, and I'm sure you're gonna give thanks for Madeline. So amen. Okay, let me keep my eye on the approach. We are looking at 160 nautical miles out. Here is the actual airport. So probably by the time we get to about this ring, we're going to want to start considering descent. If we need to get down to like 3,000 feet, we got to lose like about 30, 35, 36,000 feet, which means we're going to need about 130 nautical miles to get down to the ground. And since I don't see any descent lines, because I forgot to do my weight calculations again, I'll probably begin descent by the time we actually get to this line, this dash line. So we will begin our descent shortly, and we are in Morocco as we speak. This is kind of amazing. I'm probably not going to expect to see too many more clouds as we approach Marrakesh. So we're going to see way more of the ground now. There might be, I don't know, sandstorms in the area or like lack of visibility, but we will see. Doesn't look like visibility is going to be a factor right now. In fact, let me double check the weather again. Yeah, it's conditions are cav okay, so we should be pretty clear for the lineup and the approach. Okay, we're at about 120 nautical miles right now. So I'm going to begin the approach, and we're going to descend using the calculation that I usually do. So we're going to do an open descent, and we're going to descend at about 2,000 feet per minute. 2,100 feet per minute is fine. MSET, my friend, God bless you. Rest well. Until next time, my friend. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit, mon ami. Okay, we are coming down. Thank you, friend. Rest well. Once I clear like 10,000 feet, I'm going to go back to 2x speed. And once we get lined up on approach to land, we're going to go down to, back to normal speed to arrive at Marrakesh. But we are coming down quickly, and the landscape around us has definitely changed from the green pasture lands or farms that we saw before to lots of this stuff. Now let's go ahead and make sure the ground spotters are armed. I usually have to finagle this a little bit. I've done it with the mouse before, so I'm not utterly worried. And if I have to go manual, I'll go manual. But you know what also might be affecting it? Me being at like 4x speed. So let me go to 2x speed for now. I well when I was at Frankfurt before. Okay, if I have to manually trigger it, that's fine. I don't necessarily care. And again, it might literally be a question of having to do it in real time. How you doing? So we're real time right now, and let me go ahead and zoom in here. Come on. There we go. Great. So now speed brakes are armed, and when we go reverse thrust, we should be fine. So back to 4x speed for the descent, and we should be on the ground at Marrakesh very shortly. Okay, actually pretty glad that we got down to the ground, although I think we're descending a little too fast now. So we'll go down to 1400 feet per minute. And as we keep dropping airspeed or dropping altitude, and we keep adjusting the rate of descent, we will bleed off more airspeed. I think this is actually approach speed now. It's got, I mean, it's funky that we've flown that fast across Europe. Of course, being at 4x speed. Speed running the landing. Let's go. Nowhere near as prestigious as speed running Ninja Turtles, but like if I'm like the only speed running flight simmer in terms of accelerated time, I'll take that. Okay, 1,000 feet per minute or less. The plane is complaining because I'm brushing up against the alpha floor. If my speed goes into this orange bar, the engines will go to take off or go around thrust, which means that I will have to go around or otherwise handle the approach. Let's make sure folks are seated and ready to go. And I'll turn the APU on, but I won't start it until we land. And I'm going to go to 1x speed so that the plane can actually line itself up properly. This is normal for 4x on this aircraft because it doesn't like it doesn't seem to like calculating the proper angle for like accelerated turns, but this should fix it. There we go. Give me just a moment, chat. BRB. God, I'm back. Looks like we're coming into our own here. We are below transition altitude, so I will adjust altitude as needed. And how much more room do we have to line up? Okay, we got about 20 nautical miles. We're 20 nautical miles out from the airport. It's probably over here somewhere. All right, BRB, just getting set up. Cat was messing around with something on my wife's night table, so I found the cause of the distraction. Okay, we're hanging out. We're going to be hanging out at 3,200 feet for our approach. We don't need to be that close to the ground, but at the same time, I don't think there are going to be obstacles between us and the airport. So, you're going to get a bit of a up-close and personal tour of the area around Marrakesh, which is cool. Man, this view was well timed. Woohoo! Let's go. Okay, so we're close enough to the ground and we're close enough to the airport to start having to slow down now. So, step 1, flaps 1. Once we get below slat speed, I'll go ahead and hit flaps 2. Close enough. Flaps 2. Flaps 2, gear down now. And gear down 3 greens. Flaps 3. And finally, flaps full. All right, cabin crew seats for landing. Taxi lights on. Okay, and the ground spoilers are armed. Once we get lined up with the RNAV approach, I'm going to go ahead and configure the go around altitude 6,000. It's going to take us a little bit. Very interesting landscape, to say the least. Look at those mountains. I think those are the Atlas Mountains. It's an amazing landscape. Okay, I'm lazy, so we're gonna go 2x speed, even 4x, because I want to land. Hey, I said I was gonna go real time once we lined up with the approach. But I'll do 2x. I can wait a little bit. So we are flaps full right now, and we are at 147 knots. And if we go a little wider than the turn, I don't care, because I almost want to. Okay, great. So we are less than 20 nautical miles out from the airport. Not bad, not bad. Terrain's not really an issue right now. We will be down shortly. Actually, let me take a look at the airport charts. When we land, we're gonna be going left back to the apron. Probably either by Charlie 5 or Charlie 6. It's going to seem like we're going to be taxiing for a while. And the runway is about 10,100 plus feet long. But we're not going to be able to taxi off the airport in the first, 2,000 feet or something. Alright, let's line up with the runway and then hit the approach button. Once we are on the actual descent path, I will reconfigure the go-around altitude to 6,000 feet. This is wonderful. Okay, let me sit up in my seat a little bit, look out the front. Do I have the runway in sight? Where is the runway? Is that it up there? Or am I missing something? No, runway's right there. Runway's in sight. So, let me hit the approach button. We have app nav. And I will go ahead and set the altitude to 6,000. Final approach. Flaps full. Spoilers are armed. Gear is down. Cabin is ready. And I think once we get past Mike X-Ray 281, we'll begin our descent. Okay, we are fully configured. We're configured before 1,000 feet AGL. We're at 1,600 feet AGL right now, theoretically. Okay. Don't know why we increased speed suddenly. There we go. Speed is set. And for some reason I can't change my speed, but I don't care. We are coming in pretty peppy. But we are in the glide.
1,000.
1,000, we're a little fast, but I think we can handle it. Disregard. I'm going to turn the brake fans on now because we're going to use them. Winds are coming almost straight down the nose at about 5 knots. Yeah, we're past 500 feet. My aircraft. Okay. The gear down. $60 knots. That's it. Welcome on down. Hey! Welcome aboard, friend. We just made it into Marrakesh. Just touched down. For some reason, I wasn't able to totally activate my reversers because it would have been slowed down more. But we made it to Marrakesh from Frankfurt. For some reason, it likes having the autopilot thing on no matter what phase of flight I'm in, so whatever. There we go. So I was using reversers. Interesting. So, welcome down to Marrakesh. We are now... Oh, that's neat. I don't have to use the detent locks. This actually works like the fly-by-wire. Okay, great. Great. That makes flying this plane even easier. I was under the impression I had to use the tent lock features to be able to access the reverse thrust, but fortunately that's not the case. Now, what I can't understand is exactly why the was it because of that? Yeah, disregard that. I'm trying to figure out why the master caution keeps tripping. And it's something that I've run into in the past, so I'm not worried about it. Let's see. Is there a reason why? It likes to keep triggering. I'm not sure why. We're on the ground. Flight director's off. Landing scales off. Constraints off. But the autopilot warning is going to keep triggering, and I'm not sure why. Autopilot hold off. Let's clear. Ah, there we go. I keep forgetting. I can hit the ECAM clear to get rid of the autopilot disconnect. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's just back to being annoying. That's fine. That's fine. Wonderful. All right, folks, welcome to Marrakesh. This was about a 4-hour turn in literally less than the 2.5 hours that we've been on stream. But it turned out to be about 2.5 hours because I took off in a normal time and I got to cruise in a normal time, and then I basically went ahead and kicked in the boosters when we were at cruise at 37,000 feet. So wing lights can come off, beacon and nav lights can stay on, nose lights on. I'll turn on the APU bleed, and people can start using their electronic devices at this point. Now, let me slow down a little bit. Okay, we are on our way into the apron, and I think when I turn the corner, that's when I should probably see some jetways. We are at the terminal, and this is not a bespoke scenery, so you are going to see default buildings, but that's okay. We just made a 4-hour flight under accelerated time in the sim. I'm happy. I'm definitely happy. And we made it with about 7,000 kilos of fuel, and we started out with about 11,000, which is probably incorrect. Again, I think part of the problem is the acceleration, the time acceleration, and how that actually impacts, I don't know, I guess that impacts everything. But we did actually, fly the whole flight, and we did actually make it, so I'm happy about that. I'm more of a scenery developer these days, or want to be more of a scenery developer these days than a pilot, so any kind of, lack of utter realism for me is like no longer even a close to being a major bone of contention. I'm okay. We got down to the ground. We actually made it. I'm happy. I think I can pull into this this parking spot. I don't know. Looks like they're waiting for me. We'll see if they actually guide me in. Anybody that's been watching my stream for a while knows for a little bit when I was using FS 2020, I would play this little game called See If You Can Find the Gate Where They're Waiting For You, because I think the AI actually does sometimes pick a random gate with all the traffic or all the vehicles here. Although I don't see anybody actually guiding me in. I'm probably going to go right up to the line because the jetway is not going to come all the way out. And we'll see. And if I have to reposition the aircraft, I'll do that. So I'm going to say right about here. What? Dude, that's fantastic. The jetway's coming out to meet me. That's fun. Okay, I'm going to wait till it actually connects with me to try to see if it meets. And it doesn't look like it's going to get all the way over. So let me see if I can actually get closer to it. That's okay. I'll shut the engines off, and then since we're running off APU anyway, we will do the thing. Okay. Um, Hang on for just a moment. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Reposition here at current gate. And now we're going to wait for the jetway to get over. Or try it again. And let's see. What might happen is that the jetway pulls away. Okay, great. It's pulling away. Let's go ahead and reposition the jetway so we can get unloaded. And then try it again. All right, and we are not on accelerated time anymore. Good. Brakes are pretty hot, I'm sure. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Look at those numbers, baby. Super duper hot. Okay. Are we connected all the way? That is so much better than before. Great. Okay, so now we're disconnect. Now we are connected. Excuse me, and we can request deboarding. There we are. Welcome to Marrakesh, Morocco, and we should hear folks starting to unload from the plane shortly, and we should get our ground services started shortly. GPU is available, which means we can turn off the APU at this point. APU bleed, probe heats, and APU can come off. Beacon can come off. Nav and logo lights can come off. Taxi lights can come off. Seatbelt signs and no smoking signs, devices can come off. And that is it. Weather system can come off. We can go back to ATC and go back to standby. And there we go. That's all she wrote. We are on the ground at Marrakesh. Let's see if I can actually see people disembarking from the aircraft. I'm not expecting to see any. Oh, look at that, I am. There we go. Yeah, like I said, this aircraft does have an interior, and we do have folks that are actually disembarking as we speak. Was definitely a nice little run. And also, hold on, I can look out this way and see him disembark. That's pretty cool. So, roughly 4-hour block time, which we probably did in about 3 hours and like 50 minutes, because we didn't take that long taxi back to the terminal. We took like probably about 8 to 10 minutes, which means we were probably like about 10 minutes ahead of schedule coming in. Um, yeah, yeah, very happy with today's flight. We didn't actually crash the desktop. I did forget to actually put the flaps all the way up, but if we can pull the flaps up, that's fine. We can't. Don't care. Whatever. That'll get fixed in post. I did put the spoilers away. Fuzzy Pickles, thank you so much, my friend. We are wrapped up here. Again, from this point going forward, we're probably going to consider going to the southwest coast, or to, let's see, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Yes, I can. Or at least I could. Hang on. Hang on. It wants to keep kicking me out of the jetway. That's dope. All right, so from here, probably either Ghana or I don't know, Ivory Coast. And then what's going to happen is from that point, we're going to plan to cross the Atlantic Ocean. It's definitely going to be an accelerated flight. And then we're going to wind up somewhere in Brazil. Check out Brazil. Go from Brazil maybe to Argentina, and then from like there we'll go up to either Ecuador, Peru, or Colombia, and then we're going to see whether or not we're going to visit anything in Panama. Potentially flying from Panama over to Trinidad and going up the Caribbean into Florida, either like Tampa or like Orlando or Miami, and then from Miami probably to Cancun, and then maybe one or two other places like Puerto Vallarta, and then up the west coast, and we'll see where it happens. But of course, in order to get to Central America, I have to get to South America, and to get to South America, I have to finish going through Africa. So I think we're gonna get there. This was actually a great adventure for me. It's just a picturesque place, and I am looking forward to seeing what comes next. Glad you got the people living without having to float. Um, yes, yes. I'm glad that we repositioned so the jetway actually connected to the airplane. Yeah. Crew and pilots. So the plane's gonna be on the ground for a little bit, and yeah, I'm gonna get up and do the things. And I don't know. I guess that it depends on where we're gonna be for the next flight. It might be a little while before the next flight happens, but I am looking forward to the next few flights because I haven't done much flying in Africa. I mean, definitely in Africa, but also not South America. Love you as well, Book. Great to have you aboard. And thanks so much for being a part of today's festivities. Yeah, that's definitely going to do it for me here. Catch up with me on Discord. I sometimes put the Discord links up in chat. Today, it's okay. Uh, I will catch up with everybody else and definitely appreciate your time and your patronage. And by all means, like I like to wrap up every stream, if you want true peace and you want hope and help, you want the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Thank you, friends. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and hopefully a great start to the Thanksgiving and Christmas season for this year. May the Lord bless you and watch over you in Jesus' name. And let's see. Should we go ahead and say hi to somebody? I don't know. We'll see where we are. Stand by. Let me check. Let me check what channels are out there. I know people are flying right now, so let's see who we can say hi to. Oh, well, I mean, sheesh. We definitely are going to be watching people flying World Flight. It's just a question of who I want to send you guys to. So, based on based on everybody flying tonight, I think what we're going to do is we're going to send you guys on over to Velocity World Flight. So, let me see. Let me see. Hold on. Get ready. And where are they? There we go. Velocity World Flight. I'm going to open up their channel just so I can actually get their raid title. Oh no, it's not exclamation point raid, it's slash raid. There we go. Alright folks, take care. Um, I will probably stream next week if I go ahead and wait until people are actually done streaming World Flight because it'll be wrapped up at that point. So take care and get ready for the raid. Until next time, see ya.